Welcome to Resilience and Resolve with Lance Drury.
Hey everyone, welcome back to an all-new episode of Resilience and Resolve with attorney Lance Drury. I'm your host, Mike Leon. For decades, Lance has stood up for taxpayers against the IRS and built a practice that continues to grow. And in today's episode, we're talking about referral networks, right? I mean, advertising comes and goes, but strong professional relationships can keep cases coming in for years. Lance is going to break all of that down in just a second. Lance, it's good to see you as open. You know, we talked in the last episode about when you opened up your firm. When you did first open up your firm, where did your earliest referrals come in from?
Well, it's good to see you, Mike. It's always a pleasure to see you. I'm glad to be here. And I guess when I first started out, the best referrals would come from family, friends, or other attorneys. You know, I wasn't really versed in how to create a referral network. Uh, Probably haven't until recently, and I've stumbled across, a new way of doing that because I think you have to build trust with these people first. And so I think that's the main focus of what I'm going to do moving forward.
Yeah. Let me ask you then, Lance, how has relationships with other business professionals, whether it be accountants, financial advisors, or even other attorneys, how has that shaped your practice?
Well, it certainly helped my practice, and it's great to get those referrals because there's no cost in marketing. I used to send a newsletter monthly. Now we do it every other month, and I send them to lawyers and accountants. And we're getting repeat people because I'll have somebody comes to me and say, "I got referred by my accountant. He sent half a dozen people to you over the years. Said everybody liked your results, so they keep sending people." So once you get good referrals from those people, they just automatically come. And a lot of these accountants and attorneys, I did not have a prior relationship. They just got my newsletter. They heard me on the radio. And so some of them I try to stay in touch with on a ongoing basis periodically, but not all of them. But now I'm getting involved in a new way of creating this, which I think is going to be much more productive in the future and which is going to create more trust, I think, before I ask them for referrals.
Let me ask you, what makes a strong referral partner in that case? And how did you recognize that early on?
Well, I don't know that I recognized that early on. I don't think I did anything formally, but I've now, last June, I joined a growth group out of New Jersey. They're significantly involved in AI. They're on the cutting edge of AI. In fact, they have talked to other companies who do AI and they've asked for their help and they've said, "We can't help you. You're so far ahead of us. It's not even funny." And so, one of the things that they do is called what's the heart of influence. And what I'm doing moving forward is, for example, I have a Nashville office. And what they do is they have two people there. I'll be there, and then there will be five other people, and it'll be on a Zoom call. It's only going to take an hour of their time. And so I'm getting associations out of Nashville, San Antonio, Houston, and I'm getting big players in accounting and in realty because realtors have four times the national average of tax problems and also financial problems, financial people that help people with financial planning or whatever, because they're on the front lines of seeing people with tax problems first. But this is not going to be a sales pitch. This is inviting them to a show where there's going to be other growth related people that perhaps they can merge with an ecosystem with to help each other mutually. And then down the road, we'll talk about whether or not we can help each other and what we can do. So I think you've got to foster trust with these people because I have found that all of businesses' relationships, all relationships are based upon shared experiences. You go out with a woman for the first time, Mike, you're not going to ask her to marry her. So, it's the same thing with asking people for money. You got to build their trust. You got to build a relationship. And then let's see if we can work together with each other to try to grow our businesses.
That's correct. My wife asked me for money now, not when we were first dating. So I appreciate that analogy, Lance. There, have you ever been surprised then in that vein by where, let's say, a great referral source came in for you?
Oh, I have several. And in fact, I have an accountant in St. Louis, and we had dinner several years ago, and he sends me people all the time. And one day we're on the phone because we talk periodically, and he goes, I got clients in Ohio and all over the place that have tax problems. Can you handle those? I said, absolutely, if it's the IRS, because, I can represent anybody in the United States. That's one of the beauty of doing this type of work is that you have a large pool of potential clients because the rules are the same because it's federal law. And so I can represent, my attorneys can represent anybody in the United States because the rules are all the same. And so, that's that's really where it is. And we're expanding into more and more places. And the other thing, Mike, is I get a lot of people. They drive through St. Louis. They drive through Nashville. They drive through San Antonio. They hear me on the radio. They hear the commercials, and they may live in Louisiana or Florida or California or wherever. And they call me because they've heard my ad on the radio. And so, that helps that recognition. And so, yeah, the referrals are great and they only grow with time. Now, you got to be patient with referrals because you're not going to get a whole lot off the bat. You got to prove yourself. But after 2, 3, 4 years, you're going to get a lot of referrals. And that's the best way to go. Because if somebody tells you you need to go see Lance Drury, they're already sold on me. It's not like somebody that just hears my ad on the radio or Googles me. So they're already sold. So, 9 times out of 10, they're going to sign up for our services.
Lance, a moment ago, you just talked about that dinner, right? That you have with that guy in St. Louis. So, how do you keep referral relationships like that strong over the long term? Is it dinners like that? Is it your hangout sessions? What is it? What does it look like?
Well, I think that it's going to be that now in the future, I think it's going to be through this heart of influence where we have this program and we find if we can find a way that's mutually beneficial to both of us. I think it's going to be a longer nurturing process in the past because if somebody's going to work with me, I want it to be beneficial to them as well. And I want to make sure that they're going to be comfortable. So I really think that in the future, there's going to be a trust aspect there before we venture into trying to get referrals from them.
Lance, you mentioned about lawyers struggling to ask for referrals, right? How would you approach those conversations in terms of getting a referral without it feeling forced?
Well, I think the way that I've just outlined with what I'm doing with the Heart of Influence to have them tell them this is not a sales pitch, there's no obligation. This is going to be mutually beneficial to them because they're going to meet other people who can help them out in forging relationships, which grows their firm. Now, they want to have to be growth oriented. If they're not concerned with growing their firm, then it's probably not going to be beneficial to them. And I get that. And I'm going to be upfront about that because I don't want them wasting their time. But if they're interested in creating more relationships that can help more people and grow their firm more, that's the kind of people that I want to meet with during this. And that's the way how I'm going to approach it in the future. It's going to be a longer term process. You're going to have to put in more time, but that's the way I want to grow this business.
Lance, for the younger attorney out there that's maybe listening to this, what's a piece of advice, one step that they can take today to start kind of building this network of referrals?
Well, I think I've just outlined it. I think it's going to be tough. I think here's the biggest problem, Mike, that I see. You know, Attorneys have an aversion to do anything that market themselves. They think I'm an attorney, I do great work. I don't need to get the word out there about how good I am. People will just automatically come to me. Well, you know what? You can be the greatest attorney in the world. And if people don't know who you are, they're not going to call you. Now, all of what we're talking about in terms of marketing will get people through the door. But if you don't do the work and if you don't do great work for people, then all of that marketing's going down the drain. So on Google reviews in St. Louis, Mike, we're 4.8 out of 5. In Nashville, we're 4.9 out of 5. I've received a national award as the top practitioner from the American Society of Tax Problem Solvers in Los Angeles in 2016. I've given speeches across the country. You can look at all the testimonials I've given. So I've co-authored books. So we're the real deal. And you can go on there. You got to do the work. You can bring them through the door with the marketing, but the best marketing you can do is once you get the case, you deliver, you get them great results, and then you're going to get even more referrals from people.
Lance, thank you as always for the time and insights on this topic. I truly appreciate it.
Good to see you again, Mike. Take care.
And thank you to everyone out there for listening to this installment of Resilience and Resolve with Lance Drury. For more resources, or if you want to connect with Lance and the team, do me a favor right now. Visit lancedrurylaw.com today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a review, and comment, or share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. As always, I'm Mike Leon. See everybody next time.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.